Huh?
Is that one recording?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi! I'm Brady.
I'm Jasmine.
And this is
Escape, Reset, Reload. We have to say that real slow.
Yeah, I've got so much echo in my ear right now.
Oh, me too.
This is going to be fantastic.
It's going to be very interesting. We have an interesting sound situation today, so we're just going to see if we're even going to put this one out. But we're here, and we've fought so hard to make this happen that we're going to try and record something anyway.
Yeah, so I apologize. We apologize that our usual, like, multi-million-dollar budget production just really isn't showing up today.
Yeah. It's not the location, it's just some technical stuff, but...
it's us.
It's us.
It's not you, it's
us.
It's
not you either. You guys are great.
Yeah. It's you, actually, is who it is.
It's that guy. AKA the microphone. So, today we're gonna talk about what it's like to work in an escape room.
Yeah.
We're both, I don't know, let's catch up real quick. I just came back from Alaska. I don't know if you can tell. I'm wearing a sweater.
Sick Alaska sweatshirt.
Do you like it?
I love it.
I loved it when I saw it. I was like, wow, it's so me.
I can see the hills and the moose. Yeah.
So I was in Alaska a little bit. It was cool. It was nice, fresh air, snow, visiting in-laws who had their vaccines done, which was cool.
I forgot Rick's from Alaska.
Yeah.
I thought you just went to Alaska.
I just went to Alaska.
I didn't went to Alaska.
And another thing about me is that right now I'm obsessed with Clubhouse. I'm so obsessed with it. It's this app. If you haven't heard of it, don't worry. Like a lot of people haven't heard of it yet.
You will hear of it.
It makes me sound like I think it's so cool. No, but like it's I'm not usually like on top of these things or like a part of these things at all. I'm behind on everything. I just happen to stumble across it and I'm obsessed. It's like an audio app, and I listen to it like all day long. And it's really cool. You can ask questions, go into little rooms. There's a lot of industry people right now talking about different things. It's really cool. So that's me. That's what's happening right now. What about you, Braids?
Braids. I'm just having a good time. Actually, next week I'm going to Las Vegas, not for fun, because it's dangerous. Me and my fiance are going because we're going to be touring wedding venues. We have some set up. We're planning a Vegas wedding in 2 years when hopefully the world's back almost to normal at least. And we're going to visit the Grand Canyon and sleep in a wooden box that we paid $70 for on Airbnb. Am I talking really slow?
We're both really tired today. It's like an off day for us, and unforeseeable things happened with this episode, but we're championing through. No, you're not slow. We're all good. Cool. We're just warming up.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, that's so exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. We've found a bunch of different locations, and they're all too expensive, so we found a bunch more that are still too expensive, so we found 3 that might be a little bit in budget, and so we're going to go view those, and then see if we can stumble across anything. I mean, in the end, it's Vegas. We can always just go find an Elvis to marry us if we need to, for like $30 and a corn dog, I guess.
There are some good escape rooms in Vegas, I've heard.
I'm aware. I've played. One of my favorite escape rooms was in Vegas. It was called Mayan. It was a very simple name. But it was like a Gen 1 escape room. Very lock and key. There was no electronics in the room at all. Everything was practical. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because it overcame the practicality with unique puzzles. I specifically remember one puzzle involving like a rock with a rope attached, and you have to place it in specific ways, and the other side of the rope lifted the rock to a specific letter and it spelt something out or something like that. And it was just the like most ingenuitive way to be like, here's a rock, do a puzzle. So It was cool. So we were talking on Clubhouse recently to our adoring fans.
Two of them.
Two.
Who are awesome and participated.
Yeah, and they actually taught me more about escape rooms.
Yeah, they know much more about this than we do. They're like entrenched pros.
Yeah, I would say it was humbling, but I didn't think that I knew that much to begin with. It was just...
I'm a fan of them, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully they don't start a podcast, because then we'll lose all
screwed.
4 of our followers.
Yeah. Oh, we love you. Yeah. So yeah, today's topic is about what it's like to work in an escape room. And I thought we would begin by talking about our first escape room experience. We'll just briefly talk about it. You briefly talked about yours on your birthday.
Yeah.
I'll talk about the first time I played an escape room and what it did to me.
That sounds horrifying. I can't wait for the details.
Yeah. It was like a creepy room, and you had to wear hoods, and you're blindfolded. You go inside, and I had no idea what to expect, like not at all. Led in, I'm placed, like just standing there. I'm with people that I didn't know very well, and then take my blindfold off, and I'm in this cage, which was when you haven't done it before, you just don't expect it.
Yeah.
And it was the scenery was amazing. There was like sound, and like the sound design was great. It was like creepy. There was like sort of old, I don't know, medieval sort of rock walls and like tortured things, and I was just like, I don't know, it was just insane. And then there was like a puzzle that was so unexpected, like it was I didn't solve. I think maybe it took me until the last room to start solving anything, because I was just like looking
I'm living
around.
for this lack of detail, like the ambiguity behind this story. I can picture anywhere.
Yeah, that's good, because I'm really trying not to tell anybody where it is. So that means I'm doing well. But it was just so cool. It was just like, it felt like an adventure, and it was very much for me, and it still very much is about the adventure and the journey and the feeling like immersed. And we were just like, oh, they were loving the puzzles. I'm not a big puzzle person. I'm not very good at it either. But I'm like visual, and I'll solve visual things and remember things and stuff like that. But it was just so cool, and it changed my life.
So that was your first experience playing a room. Do you remember your first time, like the first room you trained in, like seeing behind the scenes, the room with everything reset and just like the sounds off, and you're walking through with a flashlight and you're putting puzzles back and stuff?
I'm trying to think of which room was the first one. I think it was Da Vinci's challenge.
Okay.
That I first trained at. And Da Vinci's is not super hard or difficult to reset. It's actually probably your easiest room to reset. Yeah. And it's a beautiful room.
It's spacious.
And it was, after you play, like after I trained and played them, it was fun to go in, and it feels like, we're theater people.
Yeah.
And it feels like, like you're behind the scenes, and you're resetting it, and all these cool props and stuff. And it was really cool.
Yeah.
And before we go more into the next part of the journey of working in the escape room, do you want to tell us a little bit more about your first experience again?
Yeah, my first experience was with Quest Room on my birthday, and it was Red Giant, and Robert, love you, he was our game master, and we told him, like, we've never done this before. I was at this horrible job, previously, and I was miserable, and I hadn't taken a day off in like 4 months, like legit working straight through 60-hour weeks. I was tired, and I wasn't having any fun with anything in my life, and I went to a mental health first aid class 2 days before my birthday, and everyone had to tell a fun fact about themselves, and mine, as always, was, I'm a tap dancer. And the lady next to me was like, I'm an escape room enthusiast. I've played over 100 rooms. And I was like, that sounds sick. And I proceeded to, like...
How did you find costume? Did you Google it?
I Googled Best
Escape
Escape
Room
Rooms
in
LA. And Red Giant popped up. And the model for Red Giant looks so much like Jack Black. I could not
What's up, Max?
Is his name Max?
Yeah, and he does not look like Jack Black
Max
at all.
Black. No, it's just the photo.
In that photo, yes. Everyone says it.
Jack Black. And so I came and played, and Robert was like, listen, I'm going to lock you in there, solve some puzzles, or you die. And I was like, okay. And we went in, and I had no idea what to expect, and it just kept getting better and better and better and better. I'm 80% sure we didn't actually escape. Because afterwards, Robert was like, you got out with 2 seconds
to
left.
Spare.
And then, like, a week and a half later, I saw him do that to someone who went, like, 13
You learned that
over.
trick pretty quickly.
I was devastated when I found out. I didn't actually escape.
Oh my god, are we ruining things for people? Maybe. Yeah. But, I mean, I'm sure you all know. Yeah. Like, I mean, it depends on the group, but on some groups, if it's like your first time playing and Red Giant, like some of our rooms have like really fun endings that we want them to experience.
Yeah.
And so we will either nudge them so that they can sort of move along. We ask first if it's okay, or we'll give them a little bit of extra time. Which I've never been to an escape room that doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't, but some groups will say don't. Some people are very competitive, and you've got to respect that. But
we set it up beforehand. We were like, hey, Robert, like, it's my birthday. I have depression. Please make this a good time. And I felt like he could not, because he's a good guy. He couldn't just talk me in there to die.
And so then you applied. I remember I was the manager then, and I interviewed you, and I was like, I love him. And you were like, I played all the rooms, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, he's such a nerd. He's perfect. Yeah. And then we trained you, and you had to do the whole, you finished 59, what? That's crazy. 1 second left. Oh.
Yeah. The first room I trained in was Red Giant, which was the first room I played. Yeah. And so, like, lifting the veil, it was fantastic. Mm-hmm. There are 3 puzzles in that room. And 2 of them are like really hard puzzles. Another one was just me not getting it. That I never really understood what happened or how my fiance and roommate solved the puzzle until I got trained on how the puzzle was actually supposed to be. And so that was my favorite part, is learning, like, because even when you play an escape room, and people who play a lot of rooms, I'm assuming, hopefully I'm not alone in this, sometimes you get through a room and you're like, did I solve all the puzzles? Yes. Do I know how I solved all the puzzles?
Oh, yeah.
Not exactly. Not necessarily. And so, like, there were a couple of puzzles in Red Giant that I have no idea how we actually solved or who actually solved them. But I know that they were solved. And then I learned how they're supposed to be solved. So it was just interesting seeing, like, and then just how everything works.
That happens to me a lot because, again, I don't solve that many puzzles. I'm like, I'm useless. But yeah, I do like playing with people who are good at including me and being like, oh, something's about to happen. Let's take a look. And I come over because sometimes there's cool effects and stuff. And I like to say that to guests if they haven't played a lot of rooms, to like, hey, if you feel like you're doing something right, let people know because things might happen and you want people to be a part of it.
Exactly.
So that's one thing. And another thing is I have a few friends that are really nice to, like, if I didn't understand it, will literally explain it to me while the rest of the group like keeps moving along and I'm like, oh, thanks. Yeah. And that's awesome when you get the chance to understand it. But I don't care that much. I'm so much more about the adventure and the fun and the feeling of being immersed in another world and stuff.
I would love to do a room and then be walked through step by step everything that happens immediately after.
Really?
Yes, I love knowing how it worked. That's what I liked about that like Gen 1 room that I did in Vegas, is that, like, I saw everything happening. Like, if you didn't understand how it was going to happen, it wasn't going to happen. Like, there were no magnets. There was no solving it by chance. Like, everything, you had to know what you were doing to do it. which was fun. Like it made it like afterwards I felt so satisfied because I had solved it.
That sounds like a puzzle lover's dream, kind of.
Yeah.
And if I had more time and less stress, then I'd probably enjoy it too.
Yeah.
But when you're in a room with people who are good at it, I just kind of I sort of check out a little bit and let other people take over and just touch the walls and stuff like. Oh wow, texture.
We played one room together in person, and it was Tiki Time.
Yes.
Which is a very divide and conquer kind of.
And
room.
I usually don't like those because again, I feel like then you're not you miss out on so much. But I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because we played with a group of other game masters, and I feel like we were very conscious about being like, "Hey team, I'm about to solve this puzzle.
Yes.
You want to see the cool effect? Everyone gather around."
Yeah.
And then we did, so we got to experience the room without having to solve everything.
Yeah, and none of us in that group was particularly aggressive either. Like we were all motivated and excited, but not like aggro to the point where I sort of get scared and back out. I do. I'm just like I feel like okay. Well, you have fun. I'm just gonna look around. Okay. So when you first started working here, what was it like? What were your coworkers like? What was it like having this job versus other jobs?
It was terrifyingly overwhelming to first start because there's so much.
I gotta say then that you did not let that on. To me, anyway. Because that was your boss. You were like, oh, it's fine, no problem.
It was just so stressful. Like, the first week on the job, just running one room by myself with you over my shoulder to correct me was more terrifying than running a triple, like, that all started at the same time with people who sort of speak English. You know what I mean? Like,
so just to explain, a triple is watching and operating and listening to three games at one time, where you're then watching 3 different monitors with 9-10 cameras on one monitor and listening to the sound in the rooms of 3 games, and then making sure that no one's breaking anything, making sure that in case something doesn't trigger, or just making sure everything is happening smoothly. And that is a lot. It's crazy. It doesn't happen too often, but when it happens, it's rough for the game master.
Yeah, it's just, I remember the first game you game mastered, watching it, listening to them. One, it's just my first game that I did was actually Kelly. My first game master game was a coworkers training day where she played Red Giant, but there was a game right after that had 6 people, which is the max for that room. So I'm watching 6 people all in separate places trying several different things, breaking several different rules at once.
Oh dear.
In a room that I have the context of playing once and watching Kelly play once. That's it. So I didn't know the patterns. Now I can watch Red Giant and I know it's about this time, they've mentioned this, they're probably gonna solve this soon. I can just connect because you're used to it. You can tell what kind of team is playing. It's more instinctual. But you were first starting, I barely could remember the order the puzzles went in on my own. And I'm watching someone else do it, and there's 30 of them doing different things, and people are asking for different hints, and I'm trying to tell this one person not to break the one rule I told them not to break before they went in. It was just stressful.
It's weird how, I don't know, we feel so high stakes about it. I mean, but it is kind of a big deal. People pay a lot of money, and yeah, it's scary. I remember when I first started, I had a really nice manager who was super patient with me, and I felt that our control system is pretty intuitive. It's step by step and everything, and there's a lot of explanations and stuff. And once you understand what's a trigger button and what's a hint button, we have pre-recorded hints in these character voices. And it was super helpful. Once I got that, then it was better. But I was so nervous and. It was scary, but it was cool because everyone who worked here were nerdy, fun people who were super kind and super into it, and
the best group of coworkers possible.
Yeah.
Because we all have similar interests, even if we're all like following different paths in life and all that jazz. Like we all enjoy the puzzle aspect, the performance aspect, and just the job in general. Like it's fun to hang around, even if you don't get along as well with one coworker as another. Like it's still a great job with people that are just having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But on the same note, the easiest part of training was Jasmine is so organized. She has a binder that it was like detailed to like how many steps it took to get one side of the room to the other, to reset with every possible thing. And it's really just, you get to know the room so well because like if you do an opening shift, you come in and you have to play through the game to make sure everything works, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you reset the room, you're literally just playing the game backwards. You're taking everything from where it is and putting it back where it was, and then just honestly the worst part is cleaning up because people love to put random things in random places.
Yeah.
But even that, after a while, you get used to like they're always gonna put this here, like they're always gonna put the giant pin in the mummy's hand or something. Like,
Do you remember when you first started doing back-to-back games where you had to reset and reload, and the pressure of like you're assigned enough time that you should be okay, but when you're new,
and you don't have it memorized.
Yeah, it's tricky, and there's a reset reload list, a checklist with every single point and stuff, so you can walk around with a binder and do it, but people are waiting, you don't want to be late, it's stressful. For me, I also had a checklist that was here before I got here, so it's not my credit. But the training binder was me, but not the checklist. And the checklist was good because it teaches you step by step which object to put where and in what order. And there's magnets and electronics and different things. And it was super, super stressful. And the team here on weekends, we are so slammed that we'll have like 3 games running at the same time, and then if a game master sees that another game master is still resetting a room, they will if they just finish their room, they will slip in and finish it off with you. Mm-hmm. Did you feel that? Did you have help and stuff? Because I would make you do it by yourself, but once things got busy, how was it for you? Did it,
Once it got busy, at first it was intense because I still had a lot of questions. And I'm a very, personally, until I know it, even if I think I know it, I'll still ask for clarification. And so when I was doing my first weekend shift and I was a week into the job, I was technically done with training, I was still does this go here? Does this go here? Knowing it does, but wanting clarification. And then other people were I don't know, I'm busy doing my own thing, figure it out. And because they were busy, they had a lot of stuff going on. But it was one of those you go into the fight, you build the calluses, you get used to it. Those are the moments when I remembered how to do it.
Yeah.
And then it was overwhelming at first, but then it got easier and easier. And when people you could go and you could finish off a reset. And it's funny walking into a room, you can just go in, see what's where, and know what part of the room they're at.
Isn't that weird? That's so cool. Yeah, that's so true. And it's funny how it becomes a dance. Because if you're, some of the rooms may have things that are in different rooms, and you have to go back and forth placing things. That trick about how to keep your house tidy is every time you go to another room, pick something up with you.
Yeah.
To tidy up.
Yeah, so you're never just traveling.
Yeah, you're always being sort of efficient and economical with your movement.
Yeah.
And you become all the stuff that goes there. So if you're going in that direction, you're bringing all the things. Mm-hmm. And it's you swing around, you close this, and ding, 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 and it becomes especially with Red Giant, I feel it's a dance for me.
And you have the ability to be I'm going to this place, so let me grab this along the way and put it there.
Exactly.
Because it pass it makes it tiny.
Exactly. And then now I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Even now, I haven't done it for so long. I did it a week ago, and it was all there
It's
still.
going to be surprisingly muscle memory once
Yeah.
I do it again.
We're all probably going to be scared and panic when we have to do
Yeah.
it, but it will come back so fast.
Well, I remember when we temporarily reopened, we had like a quick redo session where we all refresh, and it was super easy compared to what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you messed up a reset? I do. Mine,
Tell me.
of course, was in Perfumer.
Oh no.
Yeah. Luckily, it was super minor, and I caught it before the game started.
Oh well, that's not too bad then.
But it was like I forgot to put something where it's supposed to, like in a lockbox or something, and I left it out. But I remember, like, I was about to send the room in, and it was just, I had already taken so long, because that room takes forever to reset. Because not only is it the most tedious, it has the most puzzles, but it has, like, you have to reset, like, 5 specific things, and then do some stuff on the computer, and then reset everything else, and then reset, like, doors in a certain way. Just the way the room is played, you can't just willy-nilly reset and then close the doors and go, like maybe Campbellton. Like you have to like set everything in a specific order, and it's a little bit more tedious.
It's very specific, yeah.
And it was just like I have messed up that reset more than any others.
It's a nightmare because there's climbing involved.
There's
climbing through holes.
Mm-hmm.
Opening and unlocking a bunch of doors and just different things, and like it's really not. It's not the one you want to mess up for
It's
sure.
fickle. If you
It's
mess
so
up the
fickle.
reset a little bit,
Yeah.
the room is going to implode on itself.
Yeah.
halfway through.
And it's not because of like bad game design in a way, but it's because there's sequences and lots of different
It's
things that
yeah.
affect each other. But it pays off because it's an awesome game. But yeah, I don't remember right now. I might remember later, but I remember something happened to a very good coworker of ours. I'm not gonna say his name because we love him, we know him, and he's a great guy. Like he's awesome. But everyone makes mistakes, and he likes to say this to all new new game masters to make them feel better, because he probably did the worst thing ever. He left the iPad and the resetting checklist in the room. And it was in Red Giant. So mind you, Red Giant is an Egyptian themed room with like a tomb, like tiles, hieroglyphs. It's super, super immersive. And then everything is in theme. Like you don't see anything that doesn't belong, kind of.
Right.
And then you come in there, and then on a sarcophagus, there's an iPad. And then you go to the last room, another room. I'm trying not to spoil too much. You find like a laminated checklist
I love
where it explains lots of stuff about the puzzles you're about to do. Oh my god.
My most common reset mistake is in Red Giant.
But you can save Red Giant so much.
Well, yeah.
Because you can go in without them knowing.
So divided.
Yeah.
But it's one of those, the reset mistake I have in there is, how do I explain this?
But yeah.
It's something that when you complete the puzzle piece blends in so well with what you complete it with, that if you're just rushing resetting it, you don't think to take that puzzle piece out and put it back where it goes, where it's hidden.
Oh my god, I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm sure, like, I can't make the connection. Like I said, I'm tired.
Well, I'll tell you later when I'm
okay.
But
yeah.
It's just this moment. Can you believe this?
Oh, is it early on?
No, it's like mid game, like dead middle of the game.
Okay.
Because you have to solve a certain puzzle to find this piece, and it's this piece and some other pieces are in an area that is revealed when you solve puzzle
my
one.
First initial thought, but I was like, there's no way.
And then you take the one piece that's unique and you put it somewhere else, and it blends in almost perfectly.
Okay, now I don't know anymore. Anyway.
But so I'll leave it there, and like when you place that piece, it triggers.
Oh, now I know what it is.
It
and
triggers
it
one of the
ruins
most
something.
cinematic moments in the game. So
I have done that before. And Ivan was here. Our boss was here, and he, yeah.
The good thing.
He was not happy. And it was
I've gotten to the point where, like, I always check it now. Like,
yeah,
it's on
me
the
too.
front of my footprint.
I triple check.
But I've left it in, and the good thing is that
they don't know.
You can't
It's still
tell,
cool,
because
but it's
even
not.
when you solve the puzzle that you're supposed to solve to find the piece, there's still 2 other pieces there.
Yeah.
So,
it doesn't really ruin anything. It just ruins the timing.
Yeah. And it ruins your mood.
It ruins your mood, and it doesn't have the same build and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not the worst. It just sucks for you. It sucks.
Yeah.
But
have you ever slightly off track? Have you ever been in a room where something was reset improperly?
Yes. It was Alice in Wonderland 60 Out on Melrose. I like that room too. And we played Ghost Ship that day, and everyone in my group loved Ghost Ship. I was like, ugh, no. And meh. And then we went to Alice, and they were like, I hated that room. I was like, what? It was so much fun. It was so whimsical. I loved it. But there was a few things that were messed up, and it ruined it a lot.
I get that.
But,
I had 2 rooms messed up on every set. One was I played a lot of 60 Out, so this isn't against 60 Out at all.
Grandma's Master Plan also messed up.
Do what?
Grandma's Master Plan as well with 60 Out.
I played their Alice in Wonderland for me went off without a hitch. It was fantastic. It was the first medium level game I played after doing only hard levels for a long time, and I was like, wow, that was just fun.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'll play mediums constantly, but their room. Hyde Circus, phenomenal room, but there was a puzzle halfway through that when we went in, when you solve the puzzle, it pops a chest open or something, and the chest was popped open when we walked in, and I, being a game master, noticed the magnet, and I could tell this was supposed to be closed before something happened, because I heard the sound trigger when we go in, and I was like, that's weird that sound went off already. Yeah. And then the game master tried to like play it off, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it to you. Because the rest of this room was fun, and you really like. I'm not gonna call you out on this right now. And there's another room. I don't remember which room it was honestly, but I remember it. Oh, it wasn't 60 Out. It was these rooms. It was their circus themed one as well. Circus themed rooms, I guess. Literally, we went in, and we were about 5 minutes into the game, and everything just started popping open and sound started going off.
Oh, I feel so bad for the game master. That's like a nightmare.
They have walkie-talkies.
Oh no.
And the walkie-talkie died.
Oh.
So like he was also, as we went in, he was hosting out another game. And so like me and my roommate fiance were like, let's just stand here. Because I'm pretty sure he's going to look on the cameras and be like, oh god. And then like next thing you know, you just hear like, doof, 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 doof. This dude's running up the stairs. He comes in, he's like, I'm so sorry. We're like, it's fine. We didn't look through the door. Like, we knew that we just started. We weren't sure what was going on, and so he like reset the room, and we sat in the hallway for a minute.
So was that in the beginning of the game then?
It was like so close to the beginning.
Then it's okay. I mean, it's not great, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I messed up. Now I remember the real bad thing that I did, but oh god, and the group were amazing, thank God. But basically, there's 3 switches in the operating rooms that turn off the entire game. Yeah. And once you finish your game, you reset it and everything, you turn it off to save power. Mm-hmm. And they're labeled. And I know in my head which one is which.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to a coworker, explaining something because I'm the manager. I was so tired. I think I had worked so much, I had barely slept. And then I go over, and as I'm talking to her, I just turn off the room she's operating, perfumer, and they were in the last room, and I was like, and I was like, oh, it was so awful. If you're listening, I'm so sorry, but you didn't know because I lied to you, because immediately I was like, there was a blackout. And I ran down and I was like, I'm so sorry, there was a power outage. God, I'm going to reset it really fast, which doesn't happen in Perfumer, but I did it as fast as I could, and they waited in the hallway, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. They were the nicest people. Yeah. They were so nice. I love you. Thank you, players who are understanding. yeah, even though you didn't think it was our fault, even though it was my fault secretly. So anyway, I gave them like a fat coupon called blackout coupon, and like they emailed me a few weeks later, and they were so nice, and they got to play almost for free. They should have maybe been able to play for free, but we need money. Oh my god, I should cut this out. Anyway,
welcome to our first highly edited podcast.
Escape room news. Okay, so we have 2 news items today that are fun and exciting. One is a little local, perhaps, but it's exciting nevertheless. If you live in Southern California, close to Anaheim, you can work at one of the coolest escape room companies.
What escape room company?
Crossroads Escape
Company is hiring?
They're hiring.
Oh,
yay.
Wow.
Yeah, they're hiring game masters, so you can have the fun job that we've just been talking about. They have some really cool games. They have Psych Ward, the circus one. Do you remember what it's called?
Hex Room. That's not the circus one.
Yeah, and then Hex Room, which is an oldie goldie.
Hex Room is one of my favorite rooms. It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's unique.
It is unique. And I don't remember what their circus room is called, like Freak. No, I don't remember. But 3 good games. There might be more that I'm not aware of. But yeah, so you could have this awesome dream job. Check them out. They're called Crossroads Escape or Crossroads Escape Room. I'll put links down below. You can check our Instagram and YouTube for the details if you are listening. News item number 2. There is a new escape room blogger in town. His name is Mystery Rick, and he does Mystery Rick. He is our number 4 fan, I think.
Number 4. After me and Jasmine ourselves being 1 and 2.
Yes, and then Rick is number 3, and he's number 4.
Your Rick.
Yeah, my Rick is number 4.
Jasmine's Rick, not Mystery Rick.
Yeah.
There's no mystery about Jasmine's Rick.
Nope. And then I guess Reese's number 5.
Reese's number. Yeah, that's
because I don't feel like she loves it as much as Rick does.
She's got other things going on.
She's busy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, Rick is too. He's busy writing reviews. Check out Rick's review website. It is mysteryrick.wordpress.com. Okay, we're gonna link that below as well. That is it for today. Feel free to send us news and fun, exciting things for our next news segment thingamajiggy. Okay. There was another thing. Just wanting to talk about other things to do with what it's like.
Oh, well, what's something that's unique to me and you? Yeah, just me and you. Learning so many rooms. And
yes. Yeah, oh my god.
We have 8 games currently. Mm-hmm. And that is, which are nightmares.
Yes, this is like what I was going to talk about. I was the first one to learn, from perfumer onward. I was the first one to learn perfumer, and I was the only one who knew perfumer for almost a week, I'd say. And it was, obviously back-to-back booked because it was a brand new room, and it was a nightmare to reset, and things happened. Because it's such a finicky room, things happened, so I had to restart it and do it over, and just making sure everything was perfect. There were so many cool things, but super advanced game to operate, especially back then because we had something we don't have anymore.
Yeah.
And I remember the anxiety with it, such anxiety, and my boss would be watching, and we'd be freaking out if something went wrong. Mm-hmm. And the same with Resurrection.
Yeah.
Resurrection is intense. I don't want to say too much about it because it will spoil so much, but it's a very intense game for a game master to operate.
I think without giving anything away, the best way to explain is that Resurrection is the game that you are not, as the game master, in control of as much as you have to relinquish your control of like supervision of the room, so much more in that room than any other room, and it's horrifying.
It's so stressful. Like, I thank God I hired amazing game masters who love operating that room, because that room for me just gave me so much anxiety. Like, it is fun. There's a lot of fun parts, but I'm too worried most of the time in between, because there's so much timing stuff that you have to do. You have to be on it, and it's like it's a crazy room. But that, like, learning that, me and my boss together in a tiny little operating room, operating that when we just opened the whole venue. We had just trained all these new game masters and then testing it and having groups, and it was just like, and it's so much at the same time, which teaches you a lot, but it's super stressful. That for me is like, I'd say probably the worst part of the job. Even though I love it, it's really the most stressful it gets for me.
I would rather have to learn 7 new resurrections than 1 more new party hard.
Really?
Which is,
you know what? We can say whatever we want about Party Hard, because Party Hard is going.
I love Party Hard.
I know, I do too. But it's not our.
I love playing the game. For the most part, I enjoy operating the game. But resetting and reloading that game. So Jasmin spoke earlier about how all of our games are like these super user-friendly systems.
Yeah.
Not
the operating system. Yeah, because we didn't design it. Yeah.
So Party Hard, Ivan purchased and modified.
Mm-hmm.
So it works on a completely different system. Like to reset the room, you have to walk around with the phone and like reset one puzzle and then click 7 buttons, and then reset the next puzzle and then click 7 buttons in the dark. And it's the most confusing.
It is.
You have to like restart. There's a closet where the brain of the game lives, and it's got like 5 switches and buttons that you have to reset in between. And there are 2 light switches at the top that say "Do not touch." And guess what I did? My first day independently running that game, I touched the living hell out of that light switch. I was like, gotta turn the room off and on. Boom, boom, and then the room was like, nah, turn it back on. It was not doing it. I had to call Jasmin, who told me to call Ivan, who told me to call Kirill, who taught me how to use like coat hanger to like take apart 2 different cabinets in the room and restart computer hard drives that were in there. And it was just the most like stressful. And then on top of that, like the
Kirill, for reference, Kirill is like one of the owners of the company, and he's Russian.
Makers.
He's very like typical sort of grumpy Russian dude who does a lot of tech stuff, and his English is good, but it's not the best, and it comes off as very gruff, you know, and like if you fuck up like that,
and I called him at
he'll be like,
PM.
but I mean, he'll help you and he'll be understanding, but it's like so horrible and scary. I, in that same location, locked in the key to, there's a little back room in one of the rooms where you have to go in and set stuff up. And there's a key for it. Only one key at that time. And you go in, blah, 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 get stuff. I close it, and I was like, oh my God. And I had to call him, and he was just like, because he had to program a new key to open it up.
Oh, no.
He's like, I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that, because that location, so Western, has our easiest game to run and our hardest game to run. Yeah. Because it has the first system Ivan built, so it's the most basic and the most reliable, and then the one Ivan did not build, so we're just winging it.
Yeah, the thing about it is, you can do everything right with Party Hard. Everything right in the exact sequence, and something can still go wrong. That is the scary part, and like the people who work there mostly, they get serious anxiety every time they close the door to and hoping that it's working, because you know pretty much right away if it's not going to work. Yeah. And it's a nightmare. But
funnily enough, though, I did accidentally shut the whole room off and kill it for a minute. When I got over there, because I enjoyed the room, basically anytime I worked, I was the Party Hard guy. I never had the room glitch on me.
Wow.
I had like one puzzle glitch once, and it was, I think it was more operator error on the people playing the game, because there was like a puzzle where you have to press a series of buttons in a specific order that you hear from somewhere else. The combinator.
Okay, I thought it was butt.
Yeah. Oh, not the butts. But you have to press them in a specific order, and I had a group of people who came in just high out of their minds that thought, what if we just press all the buttons together?
A lot of high people like playing Party Hard.
Yeah. And they literally just pressed all of the buttons 6 times in a row at the same time, and it just solved it.
Wow.
And then afterwards, they were like, why did that solve it? And I was like, why did you do that? I was like, you used a system override that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah, that's so funny.
But it's the biggest problem in that room is players' attitudes, which is justifiable. One of the very first puzzles in the room is
very difficult.
Kai will explain it the best. It is skill based. You either can do it or you cannot do it.
That's
if
frustrating.
You're phenomenal like I am, you get it on the 3rd try.
Third try?
Ask
we can
Jan.
say what it is. It's a karaoke game.
You have
to sing into the mic,
microphone.
But it's not singing. It's like, ha, ha, ha.
And it controls a bird. The louder you are, the higher the bird goes. And it's like Flappy Bird. You remember that game that plagued America for a year? It's Happy Bird. And then you have to scream to make it fly and fall. And then it lasts 10 seconds too long.
Yeah.
Everyone can get through. It's like a 30-second game, and everyone can get through 20 seconds.
Yeah.
But only the
I only just did it like last week when I was testing it. I only for the first time completed it. So I'm not as fabulous as
that is the closest I ever came to breaking a record in a room.
That's awesome.
But I could not figure out the butt puzzle.
That's a shame. It's a real shame. Yeah, there's a wall of butts that you have to like feel up and stuff, and it's pretty funny. It's like Twister, but with butt cheeks.
Yeah.
It's really funny. And the last thing, I guess, what I wanted to talk about was workarounds. So as we've already kind of probably explained to you or revealed, there are things that sometimes go wrong. If you're a player, you are probably aware of it, but maybe not to that extent. But if you're a game master, you for sure know about this. And what?
We should clarify for any players who are watching, all of these instances we're talking about, we run 50 games a night. These are few and far between.
Yeah.
Very rarely does a puzzle glitch or does a room mess up.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth the money to go and play a game. It's not a gamble as to whether or not it'll work right.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes
stuff happens
because it's super high tech stuff. Sometimes something will glitch.
Most of the time it's because players break things, technical things that we've explained to them. Don't do this, and then they do it. And then we have to sort of have these workarounds to replace that puzzle moment with something else.
Yeah.
And things can happen that have never happened before, and we then write down a protocol, like Protocol Omega, and different things that we have this notebook where we write you have to get this part, put this here, do this and this and that. So we have things in place for it, which us game masters have just finagled together. And that is one of my things that I don't like, which we talked about in Angry Players, is when you go to an escape room and they don't have a replacement for it. They haven't got any sort of explanation. It doesn't smooth out. They don't smooth out the game, or they don't know how to save it. Your guy who was trying to play it off. At least he's trying to. At least he's trying to cover it up so that you think you have a seamless experience.
Right.
Sometimes you're gonna sense the guest and they can call bullshit and you're apologize honestly. Yeah. But if they don't know, you try to keep it perfect. You want it to be a good experience.
A big part of game mastering is knowing when you can play it off.
Yeah.
So a big one in Perfumer that I will talk about without spoiling anything is that there's a series of puzzles that when you solve them, something appears for you, and you have to do it a handful of times. You have to find these things, basically. And so when you do it, something appears. and no, we don't actually know any magic. So there's like a system behind the wall of like making this thing appear. And that's the most common glitch in that room, is that sometimes when it's supposed to appear, something won't appear. And it's like you learn after a while, it's like, oh, I can come over as the character and be like, oh, this was slightly off, or oh, try this again. And then you can manually trigger that.
Yeah, because our system controls almost everything.
We can do everything by hand.
So if something goes wrong, we trigger it, which is really good. Because
sometimes, like week 2 of me working here in Red Giant, a major part of the room literally collapses and prevents people from moving. like I'm talking like architectural damage to the place, and you just gotta be like.
But that was something they did, right?
Yeah,
they caused it to happen.
We have warnings.
It's not like it sounded like collapse, like the room collapsed in on itself.
No, it's like
it couldn't
hey,
move.
There's like it's like the equivalent of being like,
no,
hey,
it was
I've got
bad.
a door right there that moves on its own. Please don't ram your shoulder into the door; it'll break it.
Yeah.
And then they ram their shoulder into the door, and it breaks, and they can't get through it anymore. To the point that like we have to shut the game down and bring.
And it takes days to fix.
Yeah, we have to cancel all the games for the next day.
Oh, it's
Those
terrible.
are awful.
Yeah, it's
That
terrible.
happened twice. That has happened to Red Giant 2 times since I've been working here.
We have been able to. Yeah, we made workarounds for it.
Yeah.
But it's just such a, it's an important area of the room, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah. So we now emphasize the rule that's
Yeah.
like, hey, without
I mean, we
spoiling
always,
anything for you.
yeah, it's always been like one of the most important things that we say. But, as a game master, you just have to sense, do I have to really repeat this? Sometimes you have to be like, okay, did you guys hear that? Did you catch?
Yeah.
Like you have to, you have to be like stricter with people.
This is such a high intensity part of the room that people often forget about all the rules we told them.
Yeah, and I understand that. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about intros and rules and how we do it here. So at Quest Room, each room has a different sort of story. I mean, all rooms do. And the game master has to, first of all, introduce, themselves to the group and ask them, have you played a lot of rooms before? And gauge their skill level, gauge their competitiveness, gauge like what they want out from the room, and then operate from there. And then tell them the basic rules and then the specific rules for that specific room. And then put on a character voice and do a monologue/intro thing to really get the players in the mood. Which is really fun, and some other game masters take it to like another level and are like amazing about it. But everyone does like a really, it's really important to us here at this question that it feels immersive, and that the game master's not just like, just don't break anything. Like you're enthusiastic and you try to get them because get them excited.
It's exciting because each game master hosts each room differently. We all have. I remember my first week. Ben was like, give the rules in this order because it's easier to remember.
Yeah.
But after time, I started giving it in a different order because it's more entertaining if I do it this way, and they're going to pay attention to what I'm saying and not start looking at their phones. And it's just it gets different. Everyone does different things, and then when you get to different rooms, like my favorite thing about hosting in Cannibals Den is everyone does it differently, but everyone. Their different tactics have purposes. So there's stuff that happens throughout that room that if we vaguely mention it ahead of time and give you a certain sort of warning, then it sets you up for the reveal later to be 9 times better. Because that room has very, very specific rules for very specific puzzles. So you have to find ways to introduce that without ruining the puzzle, without giving anything away, kind of.
And it's cool because it has flexibility within it to do things differently depending on the group.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really awesome, and sometimes if we have enough staff, we'll really make a big show out of it, and people absolutely love it, which is really cool.
It's also the most we place you in the room.
Yeah.
Like where you start, like what part of the room that
you have to, there's like, sorry for interrupting you.
But it's specific, and some people just do it based off of logistics, like tallest person goes here, shortest person goes here, whatever. But like I had a series of questions I was asking candidates. I said, does anyone have any back problems I should know about?
Yeah.
Who is the most excited for this room? And who did you have to convince to come and play?
Yeah.
And then generally, if someone looks like
because it's a scary room and some people have to be convinced.
Yeah. And then there's also, if the room, like depending on like a group of like 13-year-olds come in once, and I was like, how scared do y'all want this room? Because we can like dial it down or up. That was also the room where I got to watch one of the Property Brothers almost pee himself, so that was fun.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
And that's one of the many fun things about this job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's been a while now, so I think we should probably wrap it up.
No better way to end it than a Property Brother urinating his pants in the public place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Property Brothers.
Thank you, Property Brothers.
Yeah, cool. That was fun. I hope you guys had fun hearing us nerd out about what it's like to work as a game master.
And if you
behind the
fun,
scenes.
we did.
Yeah, we did at least, so that's worth it. But thank you so much for watching and for listening and for all your support. We'll see you in the next episode.
We're not going to see you.
You'll hear us. Yeah, you'll hear or see us in the next episode. All right?
Bye.
Bye.